right on spot, seconds rolled into minutes, and minutes into hours, hours is turned into days. And since then, people, families are still amidst grief as concerned members that were boarded in the Kaduna Abuja Express train. A lot of persons are still missing at this very moment. And today on TSL Nigeria TV, specifically on the Matters on the Ground show, we will be discussing insecurity in Nigeria and the way forward. My name is Joy Matthew. Joined with me is my co-host and a guest. Right after this break, you get to meet them. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Really, it is a time to really, really be sad in Nigeria if you are abreast with all that has been happening in the country. And then it still boils back to the topic of insecurity. Would we ever get to see the end of it? Remember that this is 2022. A lot is going on concerning campaign being next year, another election year, and still we're talking about insecurity. Anyways, join with me today is my co-host Glory Brown. Hello. And of course, I have the prestigious Mr. Kewe Mutube.
Yay, prestigious.
Prestigious, yes.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Welcome. So this is all smile right now, but really when we look at the state of the country, a lot of persons are in pain, like literally and physically in pain, like it was terrible. The shootout, some persons did die on the spot. I think the first thing that really gets to mind is the medical care of those persons that managed to survive. What do you think is their medical situation right now? What do you think? What do you make of the whole medical situations of the persons that managed to survive the attack?
Nigeria,
Yes, in our country, our beloved country, Nigeria.
healthcare. Is there anything like healthcare in Nigeria?
It should exist,
Because it for poor conditions.
but it
Yes.
still does exist.
Yes. Because I think if we have issues like this, because issue of terrorism is something that is global. We have it happen in the so-called United States of America.
Civilized
But
countries
when
even.
you make plans, they say a country that fails to make plans for things like this would definitely find itself in conditions like this. We know too well that we've grappled with insecurity for the past, even when PDP was still there, APC, they came with promises telling us that in less than 6 months we'll be able to curb this issue of insecurity in Nigeria, and we're still in it. It's even getting worse. But one would expect that, you know very fully well that things like this would occur. You should have world-class medical facilities to handle
You're
cases
laughing
like this.
talking about what?
Yes, I'm actually laughing because my beloved president just came back from the United Kingdom where he went to get respite to his health condition. And so if that is enough for you to know that when you talk about healthcare, there is none in this country. If there is any, my president would not travel all the way to the United Kingdom to get respite.
Let's
for his health
assume that
medical condition.
there is some, but we do not have it in premium. So I like that you brought in APC, PDP, although it is not entirely about them, but we cannot talk about things in this year, being next year election year, and not talk about those two prominent parties. Now that APC, PDP is at the background, what happened on government property. Who do we channel our grievances to? Because there's going to be a lot of hospital bills. Who do you think should, because that's the first thing that everybody should be concerned about, the welfare of these persons. Who should shoulder that responsibility?
Okay, you see, well, the reason why I'm happy that this thing happened, I'm happy for the victim. You know why I'm happy for the victim?
Tell me why.
This is a pre-election year. In Nigeria, the best time for you to do parties, the best time for you to do your events is pre-election year, because if you invite politicians, they will attend. So because this happened in the pre-election year, the government will be swift to want to pay the bills of these patients, because they know that will be like a point for them to use for their campaigns. And because they know that Nigerians, we are gullible. We don't have a way of connecting issues. Sometimes I just tell myself that we have what we call selective amnesia. We forget the past and remember what you do. It's what is obtainable everywhere. You see, an average Nigerian, you gave the guy 50 naira last week, And he tells you thank you, tells you are the best. This week he comes asking you for 20 naira. You tell the guy that you don't have 20 naira. He has forgotten about what you did for him yesterday.
That one has finished.
He has finished. He has forgotten, and it goes about telling you that you are not a good person because you've not given him 20 naira. The same thing applies. You see, that's what the government they do. They tend to starve Nigerians. They use poverty as a tool, as a weapon to rule Nigerians. They know too well that when it comes to election year, if whatever they give to you before election, you will not remember. You will forget. So election year, they go to the hospitals now, they pay the bill, you are happy. If not for this guy that came to our rescue, we won't be
so
able
you're
to
saying
pay.
that the government should shoulder the responsibility of the bill?
The politicians, I don't like, because it's a government in Nigeria.
We are the government, the ruling party is also the...
insecurity challenges that keeps happening in Nigeria, do you think Nigerians, now the citizens, do you think they should take laws into their own hands and look for a way
But I don't think Nigeria have degenerated to a point where we call it a banana republic, where everybody should take up arms. You know Nigerians, they don't even know who their enemies are. That's what you must put into cognizance. Nigerians don't know who their enemies are. You see, okay, now, in this environment, let me use this environment. You see what the government was trying to curb insecurity, decided to come up with this local vigilante.
Yes.
You see, at the end of the day, they were empowered to go and help curb insecurity. You see, they turned against the citizens. Now they're exploiting the citizens. We know these guys. They stay in the same street with me. Yeah, they stay in the same street with me. Suddenly, they are now overlords. They want to oppress me with the empowerment. Good, that's the point. So if you empower the average Nigerian to say, okay, take laws into your hands, defend yourself, they will turn this time against themselves. Okay. And then they will end up having a lawless state.
Okay, let's not get very far from the old train incident. Over 900 persons were on board.
Okay.
400 persons boarded, like actually did board tickets. We're not even talking about tickets racketeering right now. I don't know, do you think that there are probably ways that government should take into those survivors? We don't know if they are surviving, we don't know if they are dead, but at the moment a lot of persons are missing. We've talked about persons that are currently close to death, trying to struggle back to life. You've said it that politicians, I think that's a clue, politicians should use that as a point since this is the campaign year. How about those persons that are still missing? What would you offer as a solution?
When you live life based on default, not design, that's when you have issues like this. If this kind of thing happened in the United States of America, in less than 20 minutes, they will tell you the amount of persons that is missing. They will tell you their identity. Why? Because they have a national database. We don't have it in this country. In case you are not aware, your government, your system does not even recognize you as an individual.
We have the National Identification Number, the National Identification Management Center, all of that. I feel that to an extent, we may not be as civilized, we may not be as
I want to ask you a question. The average, my mother in the village, my grandmother in the village, that don't have a voter, don't need a voter's card, that don't need NIM. Because the woman doesn't have any reason to say you want to get NIM.
So this brings us to the next question.
Okay.
With the current insecurity issue in Nigeria, do you think we should be scared for the coming election in the next year?
Because we do not even know how many persons are in Nigeria.
Now, if you go online, we have a lot of school of thoughts coming up with various ideas. It's okay, maybe because prior to 2015 election, we had a lot of insecurities like this. APC, they used that as a point against PDP, and Nigerians had to switch and say, okay, we need somebody that can secure the nation for us. Now we have another election in 2023. Are you not sure that the increase now is, and one party is trying to heat up the system so that they will use it as a tool to say, vote for us so that we can secure. These guys are fake, they can't secure. I'm just saying. Conspiracy theories. I'm just saying, but it might just be it.
Okay, now this happened, this train incident happened in Kaduna State. I think Kaduna State as a whole is not as famous as the governor, El-Rufai. He has been on the news for himself, his family has been on the news for several, I don't know if I should call them conspiracy, but they have been on the news severally. What do you make of his approach to this incident? Like, what do you make of his response, his approach so far?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Maybe you should ask yourself this question, that insecurity, security as it were, is it in the exclusive list, recurrent list? Security is like the sole responsibility of the federal government.
Really?
Yes.
Because I feel
Don't
that
they call the governors chief security officers of their states?
of the state.
Forget it.
And then you made mention of the local vigilantes. So to an extent, this
Okay.
spills
The
out
local,
to everybody.
is it the
into
responsibility of the local vigilante to
guard
call
the
terrorism? This is terrorism we are talking about. Terrorism is not what you carry gun to handle. These guys are well equipped.
They are just doing what they know best. Like,
What vigilantes will do to you, they will give you intel, they give you information about the activities of this guy. They can't confront
Within
terrorism.
that region.
Yes, they can't confront terrorism.
Okay, now this happens within the region of Kaduna State.
Okay, good.
Like you said, he is the chief security officer of the state. And the question now is his approach so far, his response to the whole situation so far, what do you make of it? Fine, it's true that the federal government do not give you so much autonomy to really exhibit or carry out your responsibility as the chief security officer of the state, but regardless, don't you think that there should be some ceremonial response?
It's not because this one happened, it's a train incident, first of its kind, and that's the reason why everybody's talking about it. Do you know the one that happened in various states in Nigeria that does not make it to national headlines? The truth about it is there is breakdown of security in this country. Federal government should rise up to the occasion. If they need to come up and say, okay, let us allow states to handle the issue of security. Let state governors secure their state. It will make sense. But the state governors, are they ready for it? Election is coming. Once you ask this issue of state police that people keep talking about, and you ask our governors to come up with state police, they will use it against their opponent during the elections. So I won't even support that for now.
Okay, so I like that you still brought up this election issue. We cannot take it away from the conversation.
Yes.
This happened, and there are going to be a lot of theories out there. You just said something that if any politician is listening, they could already have even thought about it, using it as a point to win more points with their candidacy. Do you think that in any way, I'm not saying, but do you think in any way that this is a political attempt?
I can't say, because in Nigeria everything is politicized in Nigeria. I can't for now sit here and tell you that somebody is behind this. The truth about it is that somebody is behind terrorism in Nigeria. And we've seen cases where they will tell us, they will name top politicians, they'll tell you that these guys are the one sponsored, but it dies. The thing dies. We just hear the news, nothing happened to them. They don't arrest these guys, and it just go like that.
We've been having insecurity issues for some time now, since independence, but this recent one takes a different waves entirely. What do you think is the best approach to curb banditry totally?
Okay, this is so. Because sometimes I just say it's like you switching from NEPA to BDC to change of guards. It still remains the same. It's no longer Boko Haram. Is now
terrorist.
Just check the trend. They started with Boko Haram, they moved to herdsmen. Now it's banditry.
Occasionally terrorism.
What are we dealing with here?
So is it about the name or about curbing it? Like, are you saying that the change of name changes attention?
No, let me tell you this. This is what happens when somebody comes out on national television to tell you that they have decimated Boko Haram in Nigeria, and another attack comes up from another area. They'll change the name.
Okay.
You understand me? They'll change the name that this is not
Boko Haram. This
is herdsmen. So when they come up and tell you that herdsmen is a thing of the past in this country, that our party, our government have been able to deal with herdsmen, the issue of herdsmen in the country, you hear another attack, they change the name. This is not herdsmen, this is banditry. And you know what happens? In the next few weeks, we are going to hear somebody telling us that based on what we have put in place, we have reduced, there's no longer banditry in this country. Another name will come to now be communal clashes. That's Nigeria for you.
Okay, so this, I like that you just pointed this out. Like, this is one of the challenge that insecurity is facing. Insecurity, as if you could personalize it, would be surprised. Like, can you just attend to me once and for all? One moment I'm banditry, one moment I'm Boko Haram. So I think that this is one of the challenge, change of name. But now let's assume that we are the federal government and we have to profess solution to end insecurity as a whole. Not to Boko Haram, not to banditry, not to terror. Let's end insecurity as a whole. What would your best bet be?
Okay, this is my advice. I'm not a security expert.
Okay.
We have some persons in the federal government that are being paid to secure the life of Nigerians.
Okay.
They should do their job. That's the solution.
and them not doing their job.
They should be fired.
Them not doing their job. That's the
They should be fired. That's why we have. That's why we have the president. Fire them. You see what happened? The problem is that when things happen, nobody gets fired. I have an office now. If my staff are not doing the job, I fire them. When you fire them, the ones down, they will sit up. Is that also?
What's the guarantee that the next person coming to take?
Yes, you keep firing. Keep firing. Do not hire who you cannot fire. Keep firing, fire, until you get the one that can do the job.
Okay, let's quickly take a dive just before we wrap up. We've talked about insecurity at length. While insecurity is an issue, like I said earlier, 400 persons bought tickets to board the plane.
Okay.
But you get at the Matako Bikasala bus, over 900 people are like, how did that number multiply? I don't know. Do you think that this in any way, ticket racketeering in any way is probably feeding insecurity?
Let me tell you one thing. I think you need to take a trip to the north and see how they live their lives in the north. You think it's how people live life here? That people are structured. They are not structured there. There are so many things, I call it privileges that they have over there in the north. You'll be surprised. A full train will be boarded. Nobody will pay. If you've not been to the north, they still call this a Amajiri system, a Amajiri way of living. They feel that it's here that in the south we take responsibility for everything. In the north, they live as if they are living in America. So the government take responsibility of so many things. They don't need to pay. The system, they are part of the system owns it, so that's their benefit. They bought the train.
Just to say, a few weeks back, or like not really, couple of weeks, we heard of a scenario, still a train incident where fuel, diesel, finished along the way. Do you think that this is probably one of the scenarios? People did not buy tickets, so there was no money for fuel because this happened with buses.
As federal government come to tell you that they don't have money, the truth about this failure in system. The same thing happened now. When you see a driver, you drive car now. Sometimes you see your car to be showing you warning sign. You know too well that this thing will not take you the way you are going to. But you know we believe in God now.
Oh my.
So you just feel that God will take me. The God that make me to start this journey will take me to my destination. You will not do sign of the cross and you will not drive with empty tank. That's the way Nigerians behave. We are not a systemic people. We just do things and we live based on default, not design. You should be able to know that this quantity of fear will not take me from point A to point B. And you will fear. But the man just feel that, I'm not sure the man even check his tank. You don't fool? Yeah, and the guy kicks the AG and he expects to get to where he's going to. You understand? So it's Nigeria. It's a Nigeria thing. There needs to be a paradigm shift from followership to leadership. That will be, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I don't think election will solve it. 2023 election is not going to solve our problem.
Really?
Let's not deceive ourselves.
From the stories we saw on the internet, we got to know that some passengers boarding the train were acting as an informant. You think? Yes, it's something that you always see. The citizens are also part of the problem we have in the country.
Who are the terrorists?
Okay.
Who are the terrorists? I do not citizens. Who is the armed robber? We're citizens. That's why I said there is going to be. But the truth about it is this. I think if you are a Christian, the Bible says the hungry will always be, the beggars will always be, the poor will always be amongst you. We must always have these people around us, but not in this scale that we're having. That we're having a situation where every Nigerian is a potential thief.
Okay, just before we draw the curtain, we've discussed the train attack at length, but let's still draw a final line down to next year. 2023 is inevitable. The elections would come and go. But just before the elections come, this happened right like at the brink of campaign year. Some persons are dead, a lot of persons are dead, a lot of persons are sick, and a lot of persons are missing. What would you make of it? Like, what do you think would be the direct effect on the election?
It's not going to affect the election.
Really?
Nigerians will still sell their votes on the election day. Like I said, the election will not change Nigeria.
If we keep selling our votes, how do we expect the situation of that?
So sometimes when we enter a conversation like this, we just live the day. We just wake up in the morning, pray for God to provide for us, get enough money that will be enough for the United States Embassy to see our account statement and grant to give us visa. We leave this country.
When you say Nigerians are still going to sell their vote, one last personal question. Do you have your PVC?
Yes, I have my PVC.
Are you voting next year?
I will vote next year. But I'm not voting for Change Nigeria. I'm just voting because it's my civic responsibility. Because the election will not change Nigeria. Nigeria is going to remain the way it is.
Well, I believe you just have to be positive about it.
That Nigeria will change?
Yes.
Who is in here? Have you looked at the candidates coming out for this elected position? What happened to our NSAS campaign? That time we were coming up with Youth Democratic Party, that the youth will mobilize, and that the same youth, they are not mobilizing now to be the candidate, they are mobilizing to vote for the old, these old men.
Let's believe that they are working. So a lot has happened since 2020, like the sound, the actions that we were hearing during that period, a lot has died down. But let's assume that they are working behind closed doors.
Okay,
Because
that's a privileged information, right?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
I'm assuming that they are
Nigerians are always good at assumption.
Okay.
That's why you're in
We can only
Nigeria.
hope for the best.
Okay, hope.
Pray to
Yes, hope is not a strategy.
Okay.
That's why Nigeria things don't work in
With
this
the
country.
situation in Nigeria, I think hope is part of it.
Hope is not a strategy. You can't wake up in the morning and keep hoping for things to get better. Things won't get better. Election will not change this country. World leaders will come again. They will rule us. The only difference is that we will no longer see a President Buhari because he has completed 8 years. We will now see a modified President Buhari.
Yahaya Bello. I think it was Yahaya Bello that told us that by 2030,
20 million Nigerians
yes,
will become millionaires.
we can. I think that's something we can hope. Do you not want to be
Millionaires in naira or dollar? Because at 2020 naira would have devalued. It would not be like Zimbabwe.
Just for us to get our PVC ready and
I'll vote for
ready
who?
to vote for the right.
Who is the right candidate?
Ready to vote.
Time
I
will
not
tell.
tell.
Time will tell.
Anyway, as time permits, this is as much we can take on the show. We can go on and on this discussion without coming to an end. Thank you so much, our guest, for being on the show. And to you, the viewers, thank you so much for sticking around with us to the end. Please follow us across all social media platforms at TSLNIGERIA TV. Kindly share this video with your family and friends. Give us a thumbs up. And I know from this conversation, you have your comment and your reaction. Kindly drop them on the comment section below. Until I come your way again, it's Glory Brown from TSLNIGERIA TV saying stay safe. Bye.
Stay connected to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.